Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with Times Now. Thanks for being with us. The hijab hearing is going on. The larger bench is hearing the case in Karnataka High Court. Times Now is getting you the latest. Let's get you started with the headlines. Karnataka High Court resumes hearing on allowing hijabs in classrooms. Schools reopen. Students with hijab not allowed inside classroom. Kerala Governor Arif Muhammad Khan pitches for uniform civil code, says constitution makers also thought UCC was desirable, allays fears of a uniform law. DMK leader courts controversy, treats Lavanya case accused warden. Felicitation picture goes viral. BJP fumes slams Stalin Sarkar. Lalu Prasad Yadav convicted in the 139 crore Doranda treasury case by the special CBI court. BJP says those who loot will have to face the consequences. Former Law Minister Ashwini Kumar quits Congress, ends his 46-year association with Grand Old Party, says can serve national cause only outside the Congress. After NIA, now Enforcement Directorate on Dawood Company's trail, raids in Mumbai and nearby areas. Dawood sisters' house searched. As tension simmers between Ukraine and Russia, Indian Embassy issues advisory, asks students to leave Kyiv, advises non-essential travel must be avoided. Oil hits 7-year high as Ukraine-Russia tensions simmer. Surge towards $100 a barrel threatens to deal double blow to world economy. Inflation could go up. Pakistan's hypocrisy exposed. Imran's Naya Pak lectures on hijab and minority rights but allows takeover of Hindu Gymkhana. And here's the latest. Advocate Muhammad Tahir has said that the order passed by court is misused by the state. Muslim girls are forced to remove their hijab. In Gulbarga, government officials went to an Urdu school, forced the teachers, students to remove the hijab. Tahir has said that the order is getting misused by the authorities. I have presented all the media reports, to which the Chief Justice has said, we will ask the respondents to get instructions on this. Deepak Neha now joining us for more on this. Yes, Deepak, what's the latest you are picking up?
Yes, the arguments have begun, Pranesh. It's an interesting day once again at the Karnataka High Court. The three-judge bench led by the Chief Justice, of course, hearing this matter. Opening remarks, of course, made by one of the petitioner lawyers there, Tahir, who's going on to present certain media reports of the girls in the last couple of days, especially the school children being left out of, their classes. He's going on to say that the order of the Karnataka High Court is being misused. He further adds that even in Urdu schools, government Urdu schools as well, students are not being allowed to wear a hijab and sit down. What he's essentially here trying to say is that the order of the Karnataka High Court did mention that colleges with the College Development Authority, which prescribe a particular uniform, this interim order that any sort of religious attire will not be allowed or entertained in the campus will apply to them. So does this really apply or come under the ambit of even schools is one of the questions that really comes up when tomorrow colleges reopen once again. And degree colleges as well reopened. So at that point in time, if an institution was allowing for a hijab earlier, will this particular interim order apply there? This clarity is of course being sought as well. So we'll have to see how this interim order is being implemented on the ground, because that's essential. Because in the peace meeting that was held in Udupi, Pranesh, a couple of days ago, it was decided that if there was an institution which as a part of the uniform allowed for the hijab, or if it does not have a uniform that's prescribed, then
get in a legal view. Neha, Deepak, please stay on with us. Swapnil Kothari is with us. Mr. Kothari, good afternoon once again. What do you make of the arguments coming in? Advocate Muhammad Tahir has said the order passed by the court is being misused by the state authorities.
Those are arguments that are going to be made, Pranesh, by the advocate for the petitioners, that it's going to be misused, etc. But then the court will have to clarify as to what is the parameters of that order. And once the court clarifies that, these allegations will have no water. This is just mudslinging at the state and trying to win an argument which is absolutely because ultimately this whole case is going to rest upon the fact that whether hijab is an essential religious practice. And it is going to be very difficult for a court to hold that, because there are going to be scholars and views from either side. And once there are views on either side on any religious tenet than, say, for example, turbans in Sikhism or cassocks in Catholics. Those kind of decisions the court is not exactly empowered to make, because the court is not the gospel, and the court will take a view that, look, these are not essential religious practices according to us, and if they are, they may be so within the precincts of your own house. They cannot extend beyond the parameters of your room, of your own bedroom, or of your own house. Imagine if we were to allow this today, then what is going to happen? Tomorrow somebody were to say that, no, let me come and hold a ritual outside the college campus because that is essential religious practice to me. So, those kind of arguments will be extended tomorrow by anybody else, and this particular judgment will be quoted as a precedent.
And look what Advocate Kamath is saying. He says, SC in a case pertaining to Bohra community held any practice, if it is an essence of the religion, it cannot be curtailed, subject to public order, morality, health. Majority struck down the law on grounds that it violates Article 25. It pertained to Bohra community. There were penal provision in the community law, and a law was brought in to prohibit that. SC held that it is an essential practice.
Pranesh, that's that judgment, I'm quite aware of that, and those were penal provisions. So if the court found the penal provisions sometimes to be too, overbroad and too debilitating and infracting the actual fundamental right to practice, profess and propagate religion under Article 25, then the court may have felt that public order, health and morality do not come into play. But as far as this particular point is concerned, the court will distinguish that point and, rather distinguish that judgment and come to a conclusion to the best of my knowledge, as I've seen the interim order, that what the interim order is going to be, the final order is going to be exactly mirroring the interim order, that there are reasonable restrictions. Article 25 is subject to public order, law, health, and morality. Obviously, that is exactly what is going to come, because the public order will be in complete disarray if we allow this, because tomorrow the arguments could be stretched to say that I want to do rituals.
Okay, I'll get in. Aashutoshsrivastava is a lawyer. He's also joining us. Abdul Razak, political analyst, also with us. Just listen to these reactions. Deepak, Imran and Neha have been speaking to people on the ground, and once again, you have this chorus of Pehle hijab, fir kitab going on. Listen to this.
आज उनको सेपरेट कुछ बिठाया गया था?
आज नहीं भेजे आज हम लोग नहीं भेजे।
आज बहुत सारे लेकिन
क्या नहीं आया?
ओके, नहीं लाया, बहुत सारे नहीं आए।
क्योंकि वो हिजाब नहीं है तो नहीं आने का बोले, इसलिए नहीं भेजे हम लोग।
लेकिन उनका प्री बोर्ड एग्जाम भी चल रहा है, एजुकेशन भी मिस हो रहा है, वो पोस्टपोन ओके। और तहसीलदार से आपका कुछ बात हुआ और मैनेजमेंट के साथ बात
कल ही हुआ ना ये प्रॉब्लम? कल ही हुआ। आज हम लोग इधर पूछने के लिए आए तो अलाउड नहीं कर रहे हैं ना अंदर जाने के लिए।
ठीक है, क्या अभी अलाउ नहीं करेंगे तो आप क्या चूज करेंगे?
नहीं, हम लोग को पहले से ही हिजाब हमारा ये है ना, डालना ही जरूरी है हम लोग को। हमने डाल के इतने साल से हम लोग जा रहे हैं।
हिजाब के बिना नहीं भेजेंगे आप?
फर्स्ट हम लोग का मुस्लिम धर्म है, उसके बाद में शिक्षा।
More updates coming in. Advocate Kamath says, I would like to submit that what flows from this judgment, and he's talking about the judgment of the Bohra community that Swapnil Kothari was referring to. He says, I would like to submit that what flows from this judgment is that the guidance to state in stopping religious practice it should be which is abhorrent, having a deleterious effect on society. In this case, this is an innocuous practice of wearing headscarf. Mr. Srivastava, what do you make of this?
What is being claimed about Article 25, as rightly it was discussed that, Article 25 too is also there, which talks about the reforms part of it. And there are certain restrictions also, like the public order has to be considered at the first instance. It speaks about that Article 25 is valid only on certain places, not on the public places. The public places are not at all a religious place where the religion has to be practiced. Similarly, the Constitution has given certain powers to the state, like Karnataka Education Act, Section 133(2) clearly says that the educational institutes in Karnataka, they have the powers wherein they can try to make rules and regulations.
Okay. Abdul Razak is joining us. Mr. Razak, I am coming to you, but Zeenat Shaukat Ali, you heard some of the women. They are once again saying, Pehle hijab. If it is not allowed, we are not coming to school.
I think it is extremely unfortunate that the elders of the family are speaking in this fashion. They have to think that, our daughters, once they're educated, there are so many wonderful things. The world is opening out to them and such good things are going to happen. But it is extremely unfortunate that this entire thing about hijab first and kitab second, that itself is a misnomer. How can you say that? Your kitab and kitab, you believe in the Quran and therefore you think that that's your quotation, that all this comes from there, that source. So how can you reject that and say hijab first? This itself is showing a trend of mind that is extremely parochial. It is concentrating only on on a costume, on a dress, and not concentrating on the greater values that Islam has taught. It's not concentrating on the law and order situation. It's not concentrating on the education system. All that, I think, is very unfortunate.
Abdul Razak, how do you see that?
Sandesh, let me tell you, everybody is trying now to go ahead and say that, because women need to get progressive, that is the reason we need to stop hijab. Come on, it is not it is mandatory in Islam that any woman who wants to follow the faith has to, wear hijab. Now, some women do not follow. We don't care about them. We're just concerned whether it is an integral part of Islamic faith, an essential part. Yes, we have proved this in the court by quoting the words from the Holy Quran, chapter 24, ayat 31, verse 31. Now, what I am coming at is this is nothing but pure politics by the BJP. The very fact that they're around, now BJP wanted a communal issue, and the local MLA of Udupi has played a spoil sport here by communalizing students' education. Come on, let the students go ahead and learn in the classes. One dupatta which is given as part of the uniform, if it is worn on the head, they have problems.
But the uniform means discipline, dress code means discipline. What's your problem with that? Swapnil Kothari?
Sir?
Should there be an... Mr. Kothari, I'm coming back to you.
Yes, Pranesh, what happens is, as I kept, I've been saying since past couple of days on your channel, that if you allow this particular instance, and I'm not only against a particular religion, I will talk about even chunni or bindi or anything of that sort, which is being propagated by any particular religion or any particular faith to advance that in a public institution like an educational institution or a school or a college. The state, all the states have the right to put up a law and, to come out with an order or a promulgate, an enactment or an order which says that you do this and you do that, and especially the College Development Committee or please wear this particular uniform. And if any faith has a problem with that, saying that, look, this is a problem, I do not believe that, I'm not going to wear this school uniform, then go to another school where you have that particular right, where the school doesn't have a problem if you wear a hijab. But as far as this particular thing is concerned,
right,
where there is a particular law, then I don't think you should be abiding by that, and the court cannot permit you to do this. Because as I said, that if the court today allows you, Pranesh, to do this, then what stops somebody else coming tomorrow and
look, and on that note, look what Advocate Kamath is saying. He's saying I used to wear Rudraks to school and college. Imran now joining us for the latest. Yes, Imran, take us through some of the arguments.
Well, Pradesh, as you see that very clearly that Devdutt Kamath quoted a judgment where about Bohra is issue, and then also says that he says that I used to wear Rudraksh and that he used to give a sense of comfort when he was used to go in school and college. Now it is saying that I was not displaying a religious identity. This is protected by Article 25, and hence making an argument that the scarf gives us a sense of identity and protection to the women there, and it is also is protected by Article 25. But he also goes on to say that, but in this pertinent case, when saffron shawl were displayed to counter, it was a show of religious symbol. So he's making a difference between hijab wearing, which has a sense of protection and identity. Scarf was used as a show of provocation, and it is a sign of religious symbol.
No, if he's linked it to protection, he says this is a feeling of certain protection, Mr. Kothari. Now, forgive me for saying this, but imagine a situation where someone says, I am comfortable carrying a talwar or a sword or what have you. It gives me a sense of protection. Then where are we headed?
Mr. Kamat's arguments are not going to hold enough water as far as this thing is concerned, because I think the court is always going to say that any fundamental right is never an absolute right. It is always subject to restrictions. I mean, to give a very simple example for the benefit of your viewers to understand what I mean by that, what I'm trying to say is that I'm walking on the road with a cane in my hand and I'm swinging it. It's my fundamental right to swing a cane while walking. But my right to swing a cane stops where your nose begins. So if you're coming across from the street, across walking, and if my cane is going to hurt you, that's where my fundamental right stops. So obviously, there is bound to be a reasonable restriction, and here it's a question of public order. That is exactly what the court put it to Mr. Kamath yesterday by saying, what do you mean by public order? What is the public order? What is your definition of public order? So the court is definitely throwing the ball back into the court of the petitioners who are advancing and propagating their fundamental rights. And any fundamental right of Article 25 is always going to be looked at through the prism of Article 14.
Okay, Abdul Razak is holding something. He's holding up something. What is it, Mr. Razak? Tell me. What are you trying to say?
This is a photograph of Kittur Rani Chennamma, who is the pride of Karnataka. This is Jijabai, mother of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. This is the President Pratibha Patil. You cannot show one picture of these women. This is Savitribai Phule. This is Mother Teresa.
Make the point. Make your point, Mr. Razak. What are you trying to say?
Without a veil on their head. What is their problem? They respect Kittur Rani Chennamma. So why can't they respect Muslim women? I'm talking, this is the uniform of the school.
No, the Pratibha Patil photo that you're showing, is that from a school days? What are you saying, Mr. Razak? Is that from a school days? The Pratibha Patil photo that you've just put up, is that from a school days?
Now let me tell you, even in Hindu culture, covering the head has been advised.
No, but answer the point that Swapnil Kothari is making. Tomorrow someone wants to do Havan inside the classroom. Will you allow it?
Sir, I am not saying Havan. These women are not doing
Mr. Kothari is asking that question. Will you allow it? If the person says, I feel comfortable, I feel protected, every day I will start the class, but before that, I will let me perform Havan.
Pranish, this is the uniform, all right? The same color, the dupatta provided. These girls just wearing it on the head. So what is the problem?
Okay, Yasmin Farooqi, member of the AIMPLB is coming in. Yasmin Farooqi. Zeenat Shaukat Ali is also on the panel. She's just said the decision of the parents to put hijab first, kitab not kitab, is unfortunate. How do you see this?
किताब तो क्यों नहीं होगी? ऐसा तो मैं सोच भी नहीं सकती कि कोई पेरेंट्स अपनी बच्चियों को पढ़ाना बंद कर देंगे. लेकिन हाँ ये होगा कि जहां इतनी छोटी सी बात पे इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम, आपको जरा सा 2 मिनट मुझे देना पड़ेंगे क्योंकि मैंने बहुत डीपली इसको देखा है. जहां पे से ये उरी से शुरू हुआ है, कोस्टल एरिया से, वहां पे ऑलरेडी पेरेंट्स ने ये कहा था कि हमारी बच्चियां हिजाब लगा के आएंगी. एक छोटा सा टुकड़ा रुमाल का है जिसपे इतनी प्रॉब्लम है. और जब उन लोगों ने साइन किए थे, वो मेरे पास आप कहेंगे तो मैं आपको व्हाट्सएप कर दूंगी, वो मेरे पास वो पेपर भी है जिसपे ये है कि हमारी बच्चियां हिजाब पहन के आएंगी. पहली बात तो मेरा ये है कि उस पे रातों रात ऐसा क्या प्रॉब्लम हुआ कि उन्होंने एक जगह पे लड़कियों के गेट बंद किए और एक जगह पे उन्होंने उनको बंद कर दिया. मैं एक सवाल आप लोगों से सबसे करना चाहती हूँ जिसका मुझे जवाब कोई नहीं दे पाता. हमारे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में, मैं राजस्थान जयपुर से हूँ, और हमारे गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों में हर जगह प्रार्थना पढ़ाई जाती है. हमारी हर बच्ची प्रार्थना पढ़ती है गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में. मैंने भी बचपन में पढ़ी है. कभी किसी मुसलमान को ये, जब अगर आप धर्म की बात करते हो तो किसी मुसलमान को प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ, और शायद आज भी लाइन बना के वो बच्चियां प्रार्थना वंदना करती.
स्टे विद अस. यास्मीन जी, मैं रोकता हूं आपको, मैं आऊंगा आपके पास. एक ब्रेकिंग इनपुट आ रही है हमारे पास. गुरुग्राम, कमिंग टू यू मिस्टर रजाक, कमिंग टू यू. News just coming in, and first pictures also on Times now. Burqa-clad woman attacked a cab driver with knife. This is from Gurugram, not very far from the national capital, Delhi. The woman has been taken into custody. The reason of the attack has been inquired. First pictures, there you see she's even wrestling with the police officials there. The local police reached the spot. She misbehaved with the lady officers too, as is evident from these pictures. We don't know the reason why. Priyank joining us for more on this. Yes, Priyank.
See, this particular incident happened in Dwarka, where this lady was going in a cab. And later to that, what we got to know that she started, stabbing the cab driver. What local police is saying that they are trying to ascertain the exact role of this particular individual, the lady who was involved in this commission of this crime. But certainly, the cab driver was also injured, and he has also spoken to our local, correspondent from Gurgaon, where he has cited that he did not had, provoked him, but the lady, but still she was stabbing him. He is injured and he has been taken to the hospital.
Okay, thanks for that quick update. With that, a short break on Times Now. Non-stop updates from the courtroom only on this channel. We return with our guest. Stay with us.
Welcome to Lotto Land और ये कल रात के